updating you on construction and refurb projects around the Disneyland Resort, like new walls up in Fantasyland. That looks bad, but it's actually great news. Stay tuned. We've got the latest from the Matterhorn refurb, the Tiki Room, Avengers Campus, and the Grand Californian. But first, what about that bad sign? Well, as you approach Tomorrowland and Fantasyland, where Pixie Hollow meets, beyond those walls that have been there forever, you've got Scrim. New Scrim has appeared out around the perimeter of Pixie Hollow. They had pushed that back. You used to be able to walk into that grotto, but that lagoon has now been covered again once more by Scrim. We saw this months ago, I would say back in January, where these Scrims, and there were actual construction walls as well, went around the corner, all the way around the perimeter towards the Matterhorn and the actual exit of the Pixie Hollow meet and greet area. So this looks bad. It looks like, oh my gosh, have we regressed? Are we back to this again? Are they doing more in the grotto? I thought we were done with this part. Doesn't look good. This looks like a job for the Astro Orbiter. We got to peek over those walls first. The view from up here is not as good as you would think. You can't really see a lot because the orbiter there, that satellite, and those trees obstruct our view. But what I can see is scaffolding in the top third of the frame here. You can see there's a construction worker down there, and then there's scaffolding that appears to be right about the entrance where guests would enter the Pixie Hollow meet and greet queue from the castle side of the grotto. On the other, you can see they've drained the grotto. By the way, there's no water in there. That blue there is a painted bottom of that floor, but they've got scaffolding up there, which is a curious place to be putting scaffolding. It could mean nothing though. It just could be that they're setting up for something else. I don't see them working at all on the actual grotto itself. For example, one of the things that has not been functioning are the water features, where you get the water, it shoots from one rock feature across the walkway over to the other. We're not seeing that working here. It hasn't worked for probably a couple months now, so I'm wondering if maybe that's what they're working on here in this space. As we pass by the satellite, then in the right third of your frame, in that top right corner there, you can see that's actually the entrance. Those two light green walls, that there's an opening, that they've opened the doors to the entrance there for construction workers to get into the actual meet and greet portion of this setting, which tells me they're definitely working on that space in there, but to what extent we can't tell. We're too low, we can't get high enough, and we can't see through the scrim to see what's going on. All we can see are the big blades of grass. We can't really see anything else besides that. So no clue as to what they're working on. I have my suspicions. Obviously, we have guessed in the past, or hoped, I guess is the right word, that they're installing that Tinkerbell meet and greet that was being tested years ago, 2-3 years ago. They were testing that miniature, the actual size Tinkerbell as opposed to a life-size Tinkerbell inside the lantern. You guys remember that? We're hoping maybe they're actually putting this to market. They're actually bringing this on stage, but who knows? One thing I can tell you, that while this looks like bad news, while this looks like bad news, it's actually a very good sign. It's a sign, that we were definitely in a pause, and I've been able to confirm this with others that they were paused. There was no update, no construction happening for months at Pixie Hollow. For a long while, it was just dormant. There was nothing happening. They've begun again. They have reinvigorated this project. So while the screens here, or the scrims, look bad and it looks like we've regressed, we're actually moving forward. We mentioned last week in our construction update that there was an actual reopening date again of June 28th. I feel like this is more likely to stick now, and there is a very good chance that this show does come back. The Pixie Hollow meet and greet does come back by June 28th. So I'm excited about this. I'm optimistic. This is a very good thing to see these scrims up now, and we're hoping to see those come down in the next couple of weeks, and then finally the meet and greet reopen June 29th. Let's go to the Matterhorn next. This view from the front, and it looks like they have changed the scrim. There's scaffolding still up in that one spot right behind the queue there, but they've upgraded the scrim from, I think it was the brown tannish colored scrim They've now added the green looks like vegetation scrim, looks like trees or branches or leaves, so that they're trying to obscure it even further than what we've seen in the past, which suggests more invasive work being done. They're even more vigorous in trying to hide what's going on. From this view, we heard them working last week. There was cutting tool sounds. Nothing this week there. There goes the monorail. We'll be jumping on the monorail here in a little bit to get a view over the walls. There you go. There's something that they have. Looks like they've repaired. That discolored section there, right in the middle of the frame, looks like a place where they've cut it out and then they've done whatever they're doing behind it and repaired the rock work. They'll put in a new coat of paint there to make it blend in. Holes up there. You can see where the red tape is. We can't really tell. That's the tunnel. I want to say that's that right turn as you head into the mountain. And then in a view from the opposite side, we're over here by Alice in Wonderland right now, trying to see. Oh, yeah, if I'm moving in, that means there's the sound of construction. I think you could I could barely hear it here, so you probably can't hear it through the lens or through the camera, but you could. But there was the sound of construction happening back there. And then from the back side of the mountain, as you approach from Sleeping Beauty Castle, there's a construction worker walking right on the tracks. How exciting. I know we can't see him doing anything, but I always get, I always find it fun. Oh, monorail has just blocked our view. Oh God, isn't that beautiful? That's one of the coolest scenes that, for me, in Disneyland is observing the Matterhorn, especially when the water's flowing and those bobsleds are going by, and then the Matterhorn passes by. Absolute aesthetic right there. I love that. I'm inspired now to get on that monorail soon, but let's see if we can't see anything first, which I cannot. And the guy has disappeared behind that rock, but they're definitely working on the track or something to that effect. I don't think they're replacing track, but they're working on that part of the attraction. More red flags, another area of work. We'll see that in a minute, hopefully, when we get on the monorail, which we will next. We're shooting this from the tail, so there's a blue tint to what we're watching, just an FYI. And it also means that we're going to get a little bit of glare. You make trades. I do this so I can shoot from both sides of the monorail, right? So if I can, because we're going to shoot something from Tortilla Joe's also, but then you don't get as clear a view, without the glare and without that blue tint. So we'll see if this works out for us. But we're looking now at the return. Bobsleds are on the track, so the track is fine there. And now we're over the queue at this point. And I don't see... Well, there is some scaffolding down there. Is that scaffolding? I think I did see scaffolding. Backside. Let's try that again. Or the opposite side, I should say. There is scaffolding on the actual queue building here. Yes, as we come out of the trees, they have put the... Oh, they did. Yes. Okay, so there is scaffolding all around the queue building. Most likely just for paint and touch-ups of the queue. I don't think they're doing anything major there. You can see the scaffolding extends to the control tower in the middle, and then the Tomorrowland side of the queue as well. As for the mountain itself, you can see there's the track of the Fantasyland side coming down, splashing down. The water is still drained here, which does suggest that they're working on that part of the show as well. Although I figure they probably would drain the attraction no matter what they're doing, as I think about it. Oh, did you guys see that? There we go. Construction workers on site. This is in the same spot that we saw them a couple weeks ago. That one tunnel entrance, and I think it's a right turn. It looks like it would be coming out, but I think it's a right turn. You come around the mountain and you dive back down. It's right about where the two Matterhorn vehicles meet. And you can also see there again the return track, the splashdown. No clue, obviously, what they're working on because they're just talking. They're not actually doing. These are probably leads or something to that effect, where they're discussing the progress of the refurb. And then, so there's a lot of glare looking through this window on the monorail. We'll advance forward incrementally here, slowly but surely. And there you see the orange pylon, track coming around, zipping by on the mountain. And as we come around the mountain, oh, look at that. Oh, okay, so that's a whole section of rock work right next to the track that they're working on. Yeah, it looks like they have carved out a whole bunch of rock work there on the side of the track. But again, I don't think the rock work is the actual target. I think it's something happening underneath that they're trying to, that's as it relates possibly to the track. But my guess is that it's structural and they're just trying to, shore things up a bit internally. And in order to do that, they have to dig through the rock work, and then they'll replaster that, reshape it, give it more color, and it'll look just like new when the Matterhorn reopens. I always find that amazing, by the way, that they are able to do that. They're able to take this rockwork that's existed for decades, take it apart, put a hole in it, and then put it back together, and we have no idea that it looks exactly like it has always. That's very impressive, in my opinion. And then I think, yeah, there's more scrim and scaffold here. They've got the fake leaves scrim up, which means that they are definitely trying to hide something, and it's doing a good job. I have no idea what they're doing back there. And then that's it. That's as we pass by. We can kind of look back from this view and see that one section that we saw from the ground, but nothing is apparent from that view. And there goes the Matterhorn, and we're returning back to Tomorrowland. I'm hoping this will be done in a month or so. It's already been a couple of weeks, so I'm hoping maybe just a few more weeks. The calendar, though, is not giving us any help. The calendar shows the Matterhorn as having no reopening date, so that means it's going to be at least until July. I hope it doesn't take that long. I really do. I'm hoping it's just a month or two, but we'll stand by. We have to put a little bit of weight on that refurb calendar showing July 14th at the earliest. I'm just hoping it's not the case. I'm hoping that they can figure it out before then. We're going to stop at Big Thunder next, where unfortunately, while the train is working great, there she goes, the waterfall is not. The waterfall is back to in operation, and it has been this way, I'm going to say now, for about a week. The last 2-3 times I've come by here, like most recently on our State of Disneyland report on Tuesday, it wasn't working. And this is on Friday, 3 days later. So it's been at least Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's been at least 4 days. I don't know what the condition is today as I record this. It's a Saturday. But we're hoping that this is just a temporary situation. But the water is back off at Big Thunder. And that does obviously have an effect on how stagnant. Right now it's not bad, but this could get more stagnant water here in the little lake or river that you want to call it next to Big Thunder. And the water, you need that movement. You need that waterfall in order to keep the water moving, so that it doesn't get too stagnant. And when it gets stagnant, it starts to get murky and gross. Okay, let's go to Adventureland, to the Tiki Room. Walls are still up, obviously. They're still working on the Tiki Room. Last week we reported that you could see, there it is, there's Tangaroa. The tree is back with the falling, I don't know, are they flowers? Are they leaves? They're falling something. That has returned. The Tangaroa tree has returned. There's still no leaves on the tree. They haven't put the leaves are individually placed on that tree, so they haven't got to that point yet. What they're doing for this part of it is restoring, I believe, the functionality of a feature that hasn't been working in years. I've got some old coverage. This part of the show right here.
Father of all gods and goddesses. Here in this land of enchantment, I appear before you as a mighty tree. Stand back! Oh, mystic powers, hear my call. From my limbs, let new life fall.
Yeah, that is the thing that has not worked for many, many years. And it's something that it's one of those points in a show that people like to, it's become a meme of sorts with Disneyland fans. It's become something that you always pay attention to. Everybody pretends like they're getting hit on the head or whatever. And I actually thought that they would never bring it back for that very reason, that people got too physically involved with the set, and Disney doesn't want that, obviously, because people can't be trusted. But I think, from what I've heard, that feature is coming back. I'm crossing my fingers. I hope I'm not over getting too excited over something that may not happen. I'll be a little bit disappointed when this show comes back that's not working. But I understand. I do understand if they don't, because, like I said, people can't be trusted. Guests can be very invasive, and they can wreck things. And you can absolutely reach and touch those tree elements. So maybe they change it. Maybe they change it so that it makes it more difficult for guests to interact with those elements. Where on the backside, there was some scrim and scaffold up on the, on the tropical hideaway side of things. It looks like the raised scaffolding has been taken down, so they're done working on whatever that part of the show was. That's the exit for the Tiki Room there. Let's turn around. We'll look at the new fountain. You guys, this beautiful fountain that they've designed here at the Adventureland restrooms. They've replaced the wall, and they've made this beautiful Jungle Cruise or Jungle Book inspired setting, this rock work. And again, it looks really, really beautiful. By comparison, here's how it looked back in 2018. Liz and I were taking a trip. We had just gotten married. We were just recently married in this clip. And we're just passing through, and you can kind of see on the right. It was just rocks. That's it. It was just rocks, and there was really, you kind of sit down there a little bit, but there really wasn't much to that. People were upset at the loss of those rocks for years. We're like, oh no, those were great. I love those. But it really wasn't that much. That's why we're so excited about how good this looks. What an upgrade this is. It's actually way more than we had before. The only problem is so far is that I'm finding is that there's no water. The water's still not on. Although you can kind of see that as we look down, that the water had been on. They may have been testing it at some point. You can see water dripping there and a little bit of collected water at the bottom. So it's just a matter of time before we get that back. Well, I say back. We never had it until that feature gets added. until we get to see the full majesty of that feature. Let's go next to downtown Disney, well, the Grand Californian, where we've been updating you recently on some of the progress, some of the work they're doing on Hearthstone. That is still closed. The walls are still up. The walls are still up at the pool area on the left and the right in those planners. And then as we pan to the right, looking back towards Hearthstone, you can see the scrim and scaffold is still present. The walls are still up at Napa Rose. And as you approach the entrance to DCA, we're actually going to be staying here. Liz and I and Sophie are going to be staying here. I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday. We got a couple days coming up. We're being hosted by GetAwayToday. They've got a whole couple days planned, part of the 70th celebration. I don't know yet what our dining plans are, but I'm hoping that we'll have time for storytellers here. I would love to have another shot at storytellers to see what's up with the new dinner menu. We'll probably have a pool day, maybe have some food at the Craftsman Bar, maybe get some food at the Craftsman Grill. I'm not sure yet, but I'm looking forward to those 2 days. Again, hosted by Getaway, so I would, at this point, ask you to please consider, if you're looking to make travel arrangements to the Disneyland Resort or anywhere that Getaway covers, go through Getaway Today. There's a link in our description. Use that link, let them know we sent you, and it helps to support our channel, obviously. And you get great service. You get great service from Getaway, a friendly, kind, knowledgeable group. And you're going to get, we make all of our plans through them. Regardless of whether or not we're being affiliated, we make all of our plans through Getaway, and I've been more than happy. All of our plans for Florida have been made through Getaway. And by the way, your support through them also helps us make those trips too, because we get credits also, like hotel credits. So everything, it works great. So if you guys are looking to book a trip to Florida or to California, for Disneyland, Alani, cruise, you name it, check out Getaway Today. Link in the description. Let them know we sent you. Have a great trip. I'm really looking forward to that pool day and hopefully getting to eat there. But let's go next to Mission Breakout at DCA, where we've been talking about the status of the elevators. Again, I'm here to not just remind you that we're down to 2 elevators out of 3 on most occasions, but sometimes we might even be down to 1. On this occasion, I was just filming here for a while, waiting to see what would happen. And I think I see just 1 elevator working. Alpha is the only one working the far left. It's out of frame as we look at this. But Bravo and Charlie never opened while I was there. And that, of course, gets you this situation. That's the back of Lightning Lane right there. Standby is also brutal. We've got a 90-minute wait on this occasion at Mission Breakout. I know this is not the kind of thing you want to hear, Fresh Baked, but I have to keep repeating it as often as is necessary. You gotta look at the elevators to see how many are running. They're running just 1. Alpha is the only elevator going right now. Now, it's not a permanent condition, but it's what's happening right now. 1 elevator makes you a 90-minute standby wait here at about 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
one. It gets you 90 minutes. That's just how it is.
We'll keep going. Let's take a look at that pathway that connects Avengers Campus to Cars Land. There's the wall that they have put up to block things up. What they're doing is installing a new bathroom, to my understanding, in between this space and Cars Land. Just on the other side of that wall, to the right, over there behind the secret sanctum that's been closed for a while. That right through that screen, which right now all we can see is debris. It looks like there's collecting a bunch of rubble, etc. But that's approximately where the bathroom will be built. If we go to the opposite side, this is from Cars Land, Luigi's Rollicking Roasters. That wall, that's where we were just looking, and then this is from the reverse side, and they've constructed some sort of tent or covering there. The vacuum tube is gone, so they've done whatever they're doing there. That's been the general consensus from the comments that I received, was that it's most likely something like a vacuum type situation where they're trying to extract stuff specifically below grade. But I'm not sure what that is for. That could be, I'm not sure if that's the beginning. I don't know. You know, what that tent looking thing. It's not actually a tent. I'm not sure what to call that, but it's some sort of covered space. That was not there before. So we're standing by, but things are moving quickly here on that restroom space. Again, unrelated to the construction of Avengers Infinity Defense or Stark Flight Labs. Before we leave Cars Land, let's just check in on Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. We are still running at half capacity here. The left side is behind construction walls. The right side is still operating. So this will not appear on your refurb calendar. It will show the attraction as open. Obviously, just know it is at half capacity. Check through the wall there again, and all the vehicles are still off the track. So we've got probably another week or two at least to go on that. Let's get a bird's eye view of what's going on at Avengers Campus. What we're looking at now is from the Pixar Pal Around. We are looking down at the Avengers Infinity Defense construction site. It exists in that entire space. We're looking at just a third of it, where we see we've got some actual action down there. Some dirt moving happening. Looks like a water truck, and those look like trench boxes there in the left third of frame. I don't know if those have been used already or if they're getting ready to be used, but those were not present in our frame last week, if I recall. So that definitely indicates, subgrade or below grade work being done there for probably, again, electrical conduit or water or something to that effect. But we're definitely, again, it's another sign of moving into the next phase of construction. We do not have a view this week of what's going on in the rest of this work site, what's happening behind the Luigi's building. We'll get to that in a second. Let's take a look at this again. This view is over the cozy cones. On the other side of those cones, where that fence is, right in the middle frame, is our work site for the new restroom that we just saw, where they have those walls up separating Cars Land and Avengers Campus. And there are those trench boxes. Let's look to the right behind Luigi's. Yeah. See, we can't see anything here. The best view of this is going to be from somewhere on Harbor Boulevard. That's going to be hidden until they go super vertical. And we're back now again at the restroom, and then here we go again. I'm all over the place trying to get this view. That is the extent this week of our view of Avengers Campus, it looks like. But next week, I do believe I'm going to try and get another shot from the hotel to see what's happening behind Luigi's building. For now, we're going to move to downtown Disney, where I've got some news. I've got some news regarding Portos. This is the Earl of Sandwich today. Portos is going to go here, where this building is. It is my understanding that this location, this Earl of Sandwich location, will be closing in June, in about a month. When exactly, I'm not sure, but it's going to be within the next 3 or 4 weeks, I believe. They're going to close Earl's. The temporary one over there by the ESPN zone will remain open. They're going to close this, and then they're going to demo it. Now, how long it's going to be, it took a long time for them to get into the demo of Tortilla Joe's before they started doing the actual demo. So let's not get too excited yet in terms of timelines, but at least it's a sign. They're gonna probably close it and then do a lot of internal demo first that we can't see, taking down fixtures, taking out back of house type stuff, ovens that they might want to keep, or any of those features that they want to keep or reuse for a future location. Try to take that out with as much discretion as possible, and then destroy the building, and then destroy the 2 ticket booths over there at the Esplanade, and then start building Porta. So we got a ways to go still. Like, here's Tortilla Joe's. It's months. It has been 6 months at least, right? Am I right? 6 months to get to this point from the time that they closed Tortilla Joe's? Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Maybe more, probably more. No, God, it might be a year now already. So it took that long. This is a much more significant building, Tortilla Joe's is, than the Earl of Sandwich. But just to give you an idea of the timeline, I think we're looking at something like 6 to 12 months as well for Earl's. Lego store, still waiting for something to happen there. We're still waiting for them to do like anything that resembles a future for the ESPN Zone. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is it, as we mentioned last week. And then here's Earl of Sandwich. Very rapid work site. There's just a lot of activity here. Lots of construction workers all over this work site. You can see things starting to develop. You can see a little bit more character coming into place in terms of the internal steel, the studs, the I-beams, all of that. We're starting to see a shape of this building come into focus. And then at some point, that scaffolding will come down and we'll be able to start seeing facade work being done. All right, with that, let's take a look at the refurb calendar for all of the existing ongoing projects right now. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. We're expecting that to come back on July 17th. That's when the theater will reopen and we'll see the new Walt Disney animatronic. I hope you guys are watching the reservation calendar for you annual pass holders. Those dates have been going quickly. I think that it is sold out at the present. Stay tuned, though, because I think that they are going to re-up those. We'll let you guys know in our State of Disneyland reports or future reports from the park if those dates come back open. The Tinkerbell meet and greet at Pixie Hollow is scheduled to reopen, according to Disney, on June 29th. What we're going to be looking for here, that makes us about a month away. We're 4 weeks away from that date. What we're going to be looking for is for these scrims to come down in the next couple of months, the outer scrims, leaving just the inner walls that are at Pixie Hollow itself. A return to what we've seen in the recent past. That's what in the next 2 weeks I'm looking for those scrims to come down. The Tiki Room is scheduled to be closed. Actually, we do not have a date yet. Right now, we're looking for at least July 14th. We can't see any further into the future on the refurb calendar, so it's going to take at least that long. That, according to the calendar, that is. So that's another 6 weeks, another month and a half for the Tiki Room. However, again, I'm hoping it doesn't take that long. We're going to be looking again over the scrim to see leaves get added to the Tangaroa tree. That's about all we can see out there, and we're going to be looking for testing, perhaps, of the falling flowers on that tree. We should be able to see that tested if we get there at the right time. Matterhorn bobsleds, same. It is closed with no date up until July 13th, so it's going to take at least that long. I'm hoping it doesn't, but it could. And there's not a lot that we can observe from either the ground or the monorail in terms of what to watch in the future weeks. Who knows what we'll see on that case. Chippendale's Gadget Coaster is closed until June 12th, reopening on June 13th. And then finally, Star Tours is going to be closing on June 30th for what looks to be at least a 2-week closure. There's no date yet there. It'll be at least until July 14th as well. I still don't know yet what they're working on there. I don't know if 2 weeks is, they hardly ever work on Star Tours, even though it is an attraction that is aged. The parts and all that stuff that they've used to run that attraction aren't easy to come by, as I understand it. So it's surprising to me, kind of like the Matterhorn, that it's still, it doesn't go down as often as the Matterhorn does, because it's running on duct tape as well, to my understanding. So we don't know what's happening with Star Tours. I'm going to try to find out, hoping it's just a 2-week closure, because that's still a very popular attraction with Disneyland guests. All right, and that's it for this week's update from the Disneyland Resort. Stay tuned for more, and otherwise, thank you guys for watching. We love you. Be safe out there, be kind to one another, and fresh baked.